We are back.
Back to the future.
No.
Backstreet's back.
No.
I'm back, baby!
Back with more badass women in Resident Evil. Recently, I highlighted some of the best heroines in the series, but now it's time to get bad. Let's take a look at the villains, those characters who challenged us, terrified us, and maybe unlocked some new feelings in us. I've turned over the dark underbelly to shine a light on the 15 best female villains throughout Resident Evil. Let's dive in.
In life and in death, we give glory.
Kicking things off with one of the series' most fascinating villains, Mother Miranda's story from Resident Evil Village blends tragedy, power, and deep ties to the franchise's lore. Long before she became a godlike figure, Miranda was a grieving mother who lost her daughter Eva to the Spanish flu in the early 1900s. Her pain was unbearable, but it wasn't what broke her. It was the discovery of the mold, a substance with regenerative properties. To Miranda, this wasn't just science, it was a second chance. Her grief transformed into obsession. Miranda dedicated her life to resurrecting Eva no matter the cost. Over time, her experiments became more horrifying as she used the mold to manipulate life itself. She didn't see the villagers or her victims as people. They were tools, stepping stones toward her ultimate goal. Through this, her god complex grew. The villagers began to worship her as a divine figure. She created the Four Lords as her disciples, and she wielded absolute power.
I have
Absolute power! Yes!
To them, she was benevolent, but in truth, she was a ruthless manipulator. Miranda even infiltrated Ethan Winter's life by impersonating his wife Mia, showing just how far she would go to get what she wants.
Mia, get down. Mia!
But it's her connection to the larger Resident Evil universe that I find most fascinating. She was mentor to Oswell E. Spencer, the founder of Umbrella. Her experiments with the mold and her vision of creating a perfect being directly inspired Spencer's eugenics and bioweapons. Miranda isn't just a villain in Village, she's a cornerstone of the series' history. But beneath all of her power and cruelty lies a broken woman. Mother Miranda isn't just a terrifying antagonist, she's a tragic figure, a grieving mother consumed by her own pain. Her story is one of loss, ambition, and the horrifying lengths we'll go for the ones we love.
Tell me, what is going on around here?
How can a man be almost dead? That's a question for the wise.
Moving on to Lisa Trevor from the first game, one of the most haunting figures in the entire franchise. Unlike most enemies, Lisa's story isn't about evil or the unhinged pursuit of power. It's about pain, suffering, and the cost of Umbrella's experiments. Lisa's tragedy begins with her abduction as a young girl, along with her mother Jessica. Both were taken to the Spencer mansion, where Umbrella subjected them to relentless experimentation. While Jessica died, Lisa survived, though at a terrible cost. Decades of cruel experiments mutated her body into something monstrous and left her mind fractured. Her physical appearance alone tells her story. The hunched posture, decaying skin, and the horrifying mask made from her mother's face are reminders of the torment she endured. But beneath that grotesque exterior lies a child still clinging to the memory of her mother. Even in her broken state, Lisa obsessively searches for Jessica, driven by the love that transcends her suffering. Lisa's connection to Umbrella's legacy is huge. Her unique biology helped them develop the progenitor virus, and eventually the T-virus, the foundation for the entire series. She's not a traditional villain. Her actions stem from pain and confusion. Her story forces you to see her as more than a monster, as someone who was broken by a system that saw her as expendable. Her eerie moans, unkillable nature, and relentless pursuit are terrifying, but beyond the fear, there's an undeniable sadness that hangs heavy around her. Lisa Trevor isn't just a terrifying figure, she's a symbol of the human cost of Umbrella's ambition. Lisa's pain is unforgettable, and her legacy resonates as one of the most tragic in the series. There's something about dolls that just creeps me out, and that holds true with Angie, a haunting and unforgettable character from Resident Evil Village. She may seem like just another creepy doll, but as you progress, it becomes clear that Angie is far more than she appears. Controlled through Donna Beneviento's powers of hallucination, Angie serves as her voice, her personality, and her darker impulses. While Donna is shy and reclusive, Angie is playful, mocking, and aggressive, giving a voice to emotions Donna keeps buried. This duality between puppet and puppet master creates a fascinating dynamic, where Angie becomes an extension of Donna's fragile psyche. Unlike most enemies, she doesn't rely on brute strength or grotesque mutations. Instead, she thrives in creating paranoia and fear. The entire Beneviento segment focuses on breaking Ethan's spirit, leaning into psychological horror. Her boss fight is one of the most unique in the series. Instead of a traditional fight, Angie turns the encounter into a twisted game of hide and seek. As Ethan races to find her in a house full of murderous dolls, the tension builds, fueled by Angie's erratic movement and taunting laughter. But Angie isn't just a weird-ass doll, she's a symbol of Donna's tragic story. After being orphaned and disfigured, Donna withdrew from the world, using Angie as a way to express herself and regain some semblance of control. Angie's malicious behavior can be seen as Donna lashing out at a world that rejected her. Angie's design only adds to her unsettling nature. Her cracked porcelain face, tattered Victorian dress, and strange movements get under your skin. She draws from classic horror tropes, but feels fresh within the Resident Evil universe. Angie may be small, but her impact is enormous. She's a manifestation of Donna's pain and loneliness, a symbol of psychological horror, and a key part of Resident Evil's most chilling sequence.
Doing to my cute friends!
Mad scientists are no strangers to Resident Evil. I mean, pretty much every villain is a mad scientist of some sort. But Alexia Ashford from Resident Evil Code Veronica stands out as one of the best with her calculating demeanor and aspirations for the entire world. You gotta set your goals high, right? Created as a clone by one of the founders of Umbrella, she was raised with an aristocratic upbringing fueling her belief in her own superiority. From a young age, Alexia displayed a genius-level intellect, far surpassing her peers. Graduating from a prestigious university at the age of 10, she then joined Umbrella and developed the T. Veronica virus, a groundbreaking strain that combined the progenitor virus with the DNA of an ancient queen ant. Her connection to ants further symbolizes her character. Alexia saw herself as a queen, ruling over her creations with absolute power. She experimented on her own father, Alexander Ashford, turning him into the monstrous Nosferatu. She manipulated her twin brother Alfred, exploiting his loyalty and using him as a pawn in her elaborate schemes. Faking her own death, she entered cryogenic sleep for 15 years to fully bond with the T. Veronica virus, emerging as a superhuman entity with perfect control over her transformation. Alexia's arrogance is both her strength and her downfall. She viewed herself as untouchable, a godlike figure above everyone else. But this overconfidence blinded her to the possibility of defeat, leading to her eventual demise at the hands of Claire and Chris Redfield. Alexia Ashford isn't just a villain, she's the embodiment of hubris and the devastating consequences of unchecked power.
Wow, this looks delicious.
Marguerite Baker from Resident Evil 7 is one of the most disturbing villains in the series. What makes her truly memorable isn't just her twisted appearance or grotesque abilities. It's the heartbreaking story behind her descent into madness. Marguerite used to be a pillar of the Baker family, a loving wife and mother, but everything changed when the mold infected her family. This infection didn't just warp her body, it shattered her mind, twisting her into a sadistic insect-like monster. Marguerite embodies a distorted version of a Southern Gothic archetype, fiercely protective of her home, violently unpredictable, and utterly unnerving. She turns the family's crumbling plantation into her hunting ground, where she relentlessly stalks Ethan Winters. The mold infection gave Marguerite the skin-crawling ability to control swarms of insects.
No, not the beast! Not the beast!
Her boss battle in the greenhouse is a tense, claustrophobic nightmare. Facing her nasty, spider-like form surrounded by swarms of insects feels like being trapped in a living nightmare. But what's so sad is learning just how much she's transformed from the person she used to be. Through scattered notes and memories, you learn that she was once kind and nurturing. She's a reflection of what happens when family bonds are corrupted, when love is twisted into something unrecognizable. Her transformation isn't her fault. She's as much a victim as anyone else. Marguerite Baker isn't just a monster. She's a woman whose life and family were stolen by forces beyond her control. And that's what makes her one of the most fascinating and heartbreaking villains in Resident Evil.
Looking for Rose?
Moving on to a trio of villains from Resident Evil Village, Bela, Cassandra, and Daniela Dimitrescu are vampiric daughters of Lady Dimitrescu and integral to the game's gothic horror atmosphere. But their connection to the lady isn't what it seems. They aren't biological daughters, but creations brought to life through horrifying experiments using the Cadu parasite and the bodies of young women. This horrendous origin story adds a layer of humanity to their terrifying presence. They're victims of the same corruption that fuels their violence. Each sister has a distinct personality that sets them apart. Bela, the eldest, is calm and strategic, acting as the most composed of the three. Cassandra, the middle sister, is sadistic and cruel, relishing the chance to torment and hunt her prey. And Daniela, the youngest, is a freaking lunatic, with a manic, unpredictable nature that makes her especially terrifying.
Like that?
Their vampiric abilities make them even more formidable. They can regenerate, move with lightning speed, and even shapeshift into swarms of flies, allowing them to stalk and overwhelm Ethan in the dark halls of the castle. But beyond their abilities, the sisters are a perfect embodiment of the game's gothic horror aesthetic. Their elegant yet menacing designs and their twisted, bloodthirsty personalities evoke classic vampire tropes, while their behavior reflects the decay of aristocratic excess. I didn't think I was gonna dig the universal-like monsters,
Like, such as?
vampires and werewolves from the game, but these sisters won me over. Their relentless pursuit and unsettling presence are an early threat that sets the tone for the rest of the game.
I'm sick of bugs.
I haven't had any snacks yet.
Next up is Rachel Foley from Resident Evil Revelations. Though her time in the story is brief, her transformation, unique design, and tragic role leave an impression that lingers with you long after the credits roll. Rachel begins as an FBC agent, set to investigate the mysterious Queen Zenobia ship, but her mission takes a horrifying turn when she's attacked by the ship's ooze creatures, becoming one of the very monsters she set out to fight. Her transformation into a grotesque ooze mutant is both tragic and terrifying. Even before her infection, Rachel is pretty damn eye-catching. Her blonde hair cascading across her face, the fabric stretched to its absolute limit, and not a pocket in sight, which seems really impractical in a highly dangerous situation,
But I'll allow it.
though it's her mutated form that truly cements her in your mind. Her human features are twisted into something unrecognizable, her hideous design amplifying the horror of what she's become. A relentless stalker, prowling the claustrophobic halls of the Queen Zenobia. She's more than just another enemy. She's a persistent looming threat, sort of like Nemesis or Mr. X. But Rachel's tragic origin sets her apart from those others. Her story serves as a grim reminder of the human cost in all this. She didn't choose her fate. She wasn't trying to play God. She was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Even though her role in Revelations is small, Rachel's impact is massive and heaving. Bountiful even. Rachel Foley's tragic journey, terrifying design, and constant presence make her unforgettable.
Jill, what's going on?
I found a survivor. The BOW's got her, though.
Who was she?
I'm still trying to piece that together.
Let's take a look at him. Wow. Well, Ethan Winters. You escaped my little brother's idiot games, did you? Let's see how special you are.
Speaking of unforgettable, who could forget the reveal of Lady Dimitrescu before Resident Evil Village was released, unlocking new and special feelings throughout the collective internet. Lady Alcina Dimitrescu is one of the most captivating villains in the series, and not just for her giantesque design. She embodies a blend of elegance, horror, and tragedy that sticks with you. Standing at an imposing 9 feet 6 inches, Lady D commands attention with her aristocratic demeanor and vampiric allure. Beneath her refined exterior lies a complex personality and backstory steeped in tragedy. Once a human aristocrat, she became a victim of experimentation by Mother Miranda, who implanted her with a Cadu parasite. This transformation granted her vampiric abilities, but also cursed her with an insatiable thirst for
water. Like out the toilet?
Actually, human blood, trapping her in a monstrous existence she didn't choose. Now, Lady D views humans as mere livestock, reflecting her sense of superiority and the corrupting influence of power. Her relentless pursuit of Ethan Winters through the labyrinthine halls of the castle creates a palpable sense of dread, setting the tone for the challenges that follow. Her eventual transformation into a monstrous dragon-like creature during the climactic boss fight epitomizes her complete descent into monstrosity. Even though she's only been in a single game, Lady D has become a cultural phenomenon. I'm sure it has everything to do with her complex characterization and nuanced motivations. Or could just be whatever's going on here. Either way, Lady D's blend of elegance, brutality, and tragedy make her a standout, with a presence that will be felt for a long time to come.
Careful what you wish for, Ethan Winters.
Wait, what are you doing?
One final test.
Okay, let's talk about Alex Wesker from Resident Evil Revelations 2. As one of the children in the Wesker project, Alex carries the legacy of the series' most iconic villains. But unlike Albert Wesker, who relied on physical power and dominance, Alex approaches control much differently. Her experiments on the remote island in Revelations 2 are designed to push her subjects to their breaking point. But beneath her confident, calculating exterior lies a crippling fear of death. It's this fear that fuels her obsession with achieving immortality, not through physical enhancements like her brother, but by transferring her consciousness into another body. Her desire to transcend mortality gives her a human, albeit twisted, vulnerability, making her motives more relatable than pure megalomania. The way Alex manipulates others is what makes her so dangerous. She uses fear as a weapon, controlling her subjects like pawns in a grand game of chess. Her ability to stay several steps ahead, orchestrating chaos from the shadows, makes her a chilling presence throughout the game. But as her plans begin to unravel, we see another side of Alex, her growing desperation. Her final transformation into a disgusting monster and ultimate demise is an ironic twist, underscoring the futility of her ambitions. In trying to escape death, Alex succumbs to the very thing she feared most. Alex Wesker isn't just a villain. She's a reflection of our deepest, most profound fears. Fear of death, fear of failure, and fear of losing control. Alright, to say Resident Evil 6 is divisive is like saying people have feelings about pineapple on pizza. Although RE6 doesn't deserve nearly as much hate as this does. That being said, it's hard to argue Carla Radames, one of the main villains from Resident Evil 6, isn't a fascinating addition, and much more than just an Ada Wong lookalike. Once a brilliant scientist, Carla's life was turned upside down when she was betrayed by a man she trusted, Derek Simmons. That fucker again. Simmons used her research into the C virus to forcibly transform her into a clone of Ada Wong, stripping her of her identity and autonomy. Her journey from victim to mastermind is really what sets her apart. Carla's transformation creates a fascinating dynamic, where she's like a dark mirror image of Ada, like Wario to Mario. She's Wada Wong. Her hatred for Ada isn't just about revenge, it's about destroying the identity forced upon her. Her creation of the enhanced C virus and her orchestration of global chaos in Resident Evil 6 demonstrate her intellect and ambition. Carla even turns the tables on Simmons, using his plans against him in her quest to reshape the world. Having her agency stolen, Carla seeks to reclaim power in the most destructive way possible. She wants to remake the world in her image, which is really Ada's image? I don't know. But in the end, free from the control of those who wronged her. It's a chilling motivation that adds emotional weight to her character. Carla's final moments drive these themes home. Her monstrous mutation reflects the internal struggle she's endured, her descent into madness, and her rejection of humanity. Moving on to one of the most underrated games in the entire franchise with Resident Evil 5. In addition to the awesome co-op gameplay, refined mechanics, and fresh setting, Resident Evil 5 also features one of the series' most intriguing villains. Excella Gione blends intelligence, ambition, and hubris into a character as captivating as she is dangerous. Her story begins with her rise to power within Tricell, a global pharmaceutical company. Coming from a wealthy European family, she leveraged her background and brilliance to climb the corporate ladder, becoming the head of Tricell's bioweapons division. But Excella's ambitions didn't stop with corporate success. She aligned herself with Albert Wesker, becoming a key player in his Ouroboros project, a plan to reshape humanity into a perfect species. Her partnership with Wesker is fascinating. While there's a clear infatuation on her part, it's also a calculated move to cement her place in the New World Order. Excella believed she was indispensable to Wesker's plans. Maybe a fatal overestimation in hindsight. Her overconfidence blinded her to Wesker's true intentions. When the time came, she was betrayed and infected with Ouroboros, transforming into a horrifying monstrosity. Her downfall is a chilling reminder of how unbridled ambition can lead to destruction. Though her time in the series is brief, Excella's impact on the story is immense. Her work provided Wesker with the tools to threaten the world, and her tragic end serves as a cautionary tale. Okay, this next character may be a bit controversial. Mia Winters in Resident Evil 7 is a remarkably complex character, shaped by her hidden past, moral ambiguities, and personal struggles. Now, you may question whether or not she's a villain, and I say she is. And since this is my video, so on the surface, Mia may seem like a wife in need of saving, but she harbors a dark secret. She's an operative for a criminal organization known as the Connections. Her role involved acting as a caretaker for a bioweapon named Eveline, a villain I'll be covering in a bit, and a truth she concealed from Ethan. Mia's character blurs the line between victim and perpetrator. After being infected by Eveline, she becomes both a caretaker and a prisoner, manipulated into committing violent acts against her will. This duality elicits both sympathy and fear as you witness her struggle against the control exerted over her. Despite her background, Mia still genuinely cares about Ethan. She warns him to stay away, attempting to shield him from the danger she embodies. Mia's experiences subject her to significant psychological trauma. Despite this, she demonstrates resilience, fighting to regain control over her actions and helping Ethan in their mutual quest for survival. On the one hand, she tries to protect Ethan and atone for her past deceits, and on the other hand is a chainsaw. So there's that. Mia Winters' character is a tapestry of deception, victimhood, and moral ambiguity, intertwining to create a multifaceted character.
Me. I know you didn't mean to hurt me. You shouldn't have done that!
Moving on to a complex character whose allegiances are often shrouded in mystery. Jessica Sherawat in Resident Evil Revelations operates as a double agent, infiltrating both the FBC and the BSAA to serve Tricell's clandestine objectives. This intricate web of loyalties showcases her adeptness at deception and manipulation, allowing her to navigate treacherous environments while maintaining cover. Jessica tends to be pretty flirty, especially with Chris Redfield. And look, girl, I get it. But this is just a mask for her cunning and strategic mind, enabling her to deflect suspicion and achieve her hidden goals. Her collaboration with Raymond Vester further exemplifies her tactical prowess. Together, they orchestrate events to acquire a sample of the T-Abyss virus, all while evading detection from both allies and adversaries. Jessica's combination of charm, deception, and strategic intelligence renders her a fascinating antagonist in the Resident Evil universe. Her intricate relationships and concealed motives enrich the storyline, leaving a lasting impression.
Almost too easy, wasn't it? The company let them take Morgan out with the trash.
Some of the most dangerous threats are the most unassuming. Eveline, the central antagonist of Resident Evil 7, embodies an unsettling blend of innocence and malevolence. Her childlike appearance hides the fact that she's the powerful bioweapon behind the Baker family's corruption, creating an eerie presence that looms over the entire game. As the first successful E-type bioweapon, Eveline was engineered to infiltrate and manipulate by infecting individuals with a psychotropic mold, granting her control over their minds and bodies. This ability to dominate others' wills, coupled with her seeming innocence, creates a disturbing juxtaposition that heightens the horror she evokes. Eveline's obsession with forming a family drives her to infect and mentally enslave the Baker family, forcing them into roles that satisfy her twisted need for belonging. This perversion of the traditional family taps into deep-seated fears as the home sanctuary becomes a place of terror under her influence. Eveline's rapid aging reveals her true form. Initially looking like a young girl, she's later revealed to be an elderly woman in a wheelchair, a transformation that underscores her unnatural and grotesque existence. Eveline's presence in Resident Evil 7 stems from her combination of childlike innocence with lethal capabilities, her perverse desire for a family, and her mastery of psychological terror. In the world of Resident Evil, villains come in all forms: mutated monstrosities, power-hungry masterminds, and our last villain is one you'd least expect. Monica is a relatively obscure yet fascinating antagonist from Resident Evil Outbreak, the obscure game that's on no one's bingo card. While she may not have the monstrous presence of Nemesis or the elegance of Lady D, Monica's villainy lies in her humanity. As an Umbrella researcher, Monica doesn't wield superhuman powers or orchestrate a global bioterror plot. Her actions are far more grounded and far more chilling. During the outbreak, she betrays her colleague Peter, sabotaging his efforts to escape and stealing his research in a desperate bid to secure her own survival. This betrayal highlights Monica's defining traits, her selfishness. Unlike so many other villains in the series, Monica isn't seeking absolute power. She's simply trying to survive. but it's her willingness to sacrifice others to save herself that makes her so uniquely despicable. Monica embodies everything wrong with Umbrella. She's not a high-ranking executive or bioweapon engineer. She's a cog in the machine. But even at her level, her actions are a microcosm of the company's deep-rooted corruption. While some villains in Resident Evil show glimpses of redemption or regret, Monica remains unapologetic until the very end. Her character is a stark reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones that are the most human. Well, there you have it. 15 badass female villains from Resident Evil. Who did I miss? Now that I've covered the heroes and villains from Resident Evil, let me know what you'd like to see next. If you liked the video, hit like, drop a comment, and of course subscribe. And if you want more of my thoughts, check out my video right here. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.